What is up, everyone? Welcome to Call to Action Live this Saturday night. A little bit strange, but a little mix-up for new change to our schedule. It's going to be a lot of fun. Look at that. We started on time. Okay, it may not look like it because you guys are on a delay, but we started on time.
We did.
So deal with it. That's what happens when you get this group of ladies together. We're punctual people.
Yes.
Most of the time.
It's always my fault, too. That's what's funny about it, is that it's usually my fault. Paul just happens to get the blame for it.
And we'll keep it that way. If we were late tonight, we were still going to blame Paul because it's just what we do. Yeah. Speaking of which, to my right, the amazing and talented Danielle, co-hosting with me tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Kelsey. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here on this Saturday. Happy Saturday to everyone out there. Yeah.
And then down below, also co-hosting with me, we have Megs. I'm so excited to have you tonight. How are you doing?
Hey. I am doing wonderful. Thanks for having me as well. It's been exciting to kind of get melded into this whole group, and it's a wild ride, but I'm loving it.
Woo! Woohoo! Glad you're able to deal with our chaos, and look, you've helped us make us more punctual, and I will put that on you, so thank you.
You have improved the channel like 100% already.
100%, and the little downtime you've been on, it's improved. 1,000%.
There we go.
All right, I'm so excited to talk about some matches that happened this week. A few of them we did do full-on breakdowns, so if you want to deep dive into those matches, please go check those out. They're a lot of fun. Sometimes we have guests and things like that. It's pretty awesome. But there are a couple matches we didn't cover on those, at least yet, so we will talk about them tonight. Starting with, let me pull it up. Is this the right one? That's not the right one. There we go. We have The Cobra, Chance Ellison versus Diamond David Del Rio. Corruption versus the Rockstars. And I'll pull that up in a little bit to talk about it more. But what were your guys' general thoughts on that match? It kind of went the way I was expecting. In my personal bracket, I have a chance winning the whole thing, so I wasn't surprised. So, Danielle, what were your thoughts?
So, it did not come out the way that I was expecting. Not that I was expecting Chance to lose. I thought Chance was going to smoke Del Rio. I really did. Like, I thought David was going to have I didn't think he was going to have well as around as he did, and he crushed it, dude. Like, he just kept on par with Chance the entire time. So that's what the biggest surprise to me was how close it was throughout the entire game.
Yeah, absolutely. And Megs, what were your thoughts?
Again, I think similar to Danie, I had a strong feeling that Chance was going to be able to pull it out. But the fact of how far it went that actually got put into the situation of having to go into sudden death and how close they were neck and neck this whole time was a slight surprise. But I was impressed with the time that we did see Diamond Dave Del Rio last season. So I knew that if he was able to stay on top of things in the interim, he was going to surprise people. So, again, somewhat surprised, but not shocked.
Yeah, that's about where I was, too, from watching his tape before and things like that. I knew Del Rio was a pretty strong player. I did not think it was going to go to sudden death. I absolutely did not. I thought it was going to go to the third round. I thought maybe it would be like a 3 or 5 point decider question.
Yeah.
But, sudden death was very surprising to me. But it was a fantastic match. I love both of those guys so much, and their managers, oh my gosh, Shannon and Roxy together.
The amount of things, the amount of things I was writing down from notes of like things that happened, talk back and forth to me with matches. I'm like, I cannot keep up with this, but it was amazing.
Oh, it's so much fun. Yeah, it's so much fun to watch the two of them together because that's when we went to, what was it? Was it Spectacular when they announced all of the new managers for the season? When we went to Spectacular and Corruption did its whole thing with Grace leaving and Grace and Shannon having their back and forth. That was so much fun. So to see Shannon, I like this. I know that there are sometimes where some people might say that it feels a little problematic to have two women kind of competing or battling with each other like that. But I think that's so much fun for me to watch as a fan, to watch these women go back and forth with each other. And the
fact that they do it so differently. Their approaches are different. So they're distinct enough that it doesn't look like it's just two ladies just going at it. It's two very different personalities going at it.
Absolutely. I love that. And then same thing if you add Grace and Kate into the mix. That's a whole different type of battle between them as well. So I love it. I love the banter between Roxy and Shannon. It's so good.
It was so great. So heated. Oh, it's just so funny. Like that's the thing. They are like not pulling punches. They're going at it, but yet also it's so funny to watch their reactions to each other and things like that. It's just so fun. And then one of my favorite parts too. I can't remember if it was when they were both on screen or just Shannon was on screen, but they were talking crap, and then you can see Mike in the background. He like looks back, like the Mike cameos and Shannon.
The creep across the background. Yeah. It's becoming a commonality. It's gonna become a full on bit here pretty quick.
Where's Mike? Hashtag where's Mike?
Hashtag where's Mike?
There you go. Let's get that going.
We need the Mike cameos when Shannon's on screen for sure, because it's very entertaining. But yeah, so the banter was amazing. The competitors were fantastic. Any final thoughts on just the general vibe of the match before I pull up the stats again and we can talk about more specifics?
Well, I know that this match was coming off of the and I think we're going to talk about the Perry KO match also, right?
We can briefly talk about it. We did have a breakdown for it, so
I'm so sorry. Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry. It's been a rough week, yo. It's been a rough week.
It's been a week.
So this is coming off of the Perry KO match, which has to be like a weird mindset for Chance because of what happened with Mike. That's kind of devastating in terms of faction, because everyone thought that Mike was going to get in there and earn all those points, and now it kind of seems like, and no heat to anyone else in corruption, to Marisol and to Adam Collins that are also inside of this tournament. No heat to them. They're doing amazing work, but it almost feels like this is kind of resting on Chance's shoulders. And I don't necessarily think that he went into that match with that mentality, but I think that a lot of people are going to assume that because we've only seen Chance.
Well, and I think it was even brought up during the commentary of the match of, you know, how do you feel about being kind of the last one standing there? And I know from what he has said, Chance has a lot to prove in singles tournaments specifically. Getting past round one and going the distance in a singles tournament is something that I see statistically he's very capable of, but he's just had some pretty tough breaks in his last two.
Yeah. I think it's just kind of hard to deny Chance right now with that intervictim run that he had. I mean, he's got to be feeling that. And so that's just my overall thoughts with that whole match. Is I'm excited to see Chance go farther into it. I think with the way that Del Rio performed, it would have been very fun to see him continue throughout the league. No shade, Chance, but it would be fun to see different personalities kind of in the league. I love Chance. I love Chance's personality. I'd love to see Shannon all the time. But I think it would be fun to get some of the new blood out there a little bit more, so we get a chance to kind of really take on those characters as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hashtag Danie.
My only kind of interesting was there was a lot of talk about the fact that Chance did not go perfect in his Intergatum second round. It seemed like those were harder Intergatum round two singles questions than we've seen prior. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely think, especially this season, I know like some matches the questions will be harder, and then the next match will be still my perspective on like they were less. So it's definitely just really depends on what match questions get pulled, because I think there's definitely a degree.
It just seemed like they were about more of the obscure Intergatum movies, not as the quite well known, at least those couple that he was struggling with. So like I don't necessarily give any fault to him on that, because he has been a couple months removed from having been really concentrating on IG. So that was my only thought on that.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
I agree.
Sorry, guys. If you're wanting a controversial like back and forth, we should have brought the guys on, I guess.
I know, right? we tend to agree with each other, so this is going to be a very cohesive conversation.
We started. It's just going to be
we're too alike.
We need that every once in a while.
Yeah, it's nice. help keep the show like under wraps a little bit and not go to like a 7-hour show, which happens occasionally.
I would definitely have to tap out on that. Yeah. I have way too much to do tomorrow.
My internet's crackling up. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm accidentally. Oh no! I slipped and hit and broadcast.
My bad.
All right. Well, I'm going to pull up the stats again. And since we have the amazing creator of these stats, Megs, anything you want to specifically talk about with the match?
Nothing really specific. Just kind of in general, I'm going to start paying a little bit more attention to the difference between accuracy percentage and potential points earned percentage differences. That it plays a lot more into round 2 and round 3, but it can be very interesting to have some type of comparison and to maybe just kind of pay attention to that and see what percentage difference is there, and that kind of gives you an idea of how much they're getting those maybe more difficult questions. Can give you a little bit of insight on a player specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fascinating. Honestly, it's actually seeing the numbers in front of my face is fascinating to me because like when you're watching the match live, you're like, oh, that person did really great, or oh, that's like that, and you're actually seeing the percentages. It's like, okay, that person really did do great. It's like, oh, that's a little bit lower percentage than I would have assumed and things like that.
Yeah, and being able to look at that and go and actually see it presented in not just someone reading off the numbers, it just it adds a different layer to it.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that's the reason I do it. It's
very insightful.
Presenting things.
All right, Danielle, anything you want to talk
it's
about?
Not necessarily presenting new things, just in a new way.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So words. Okay, so as a fan, when I first started out watching the Schmoedown, I was just kind of more into the trivia. A lot of these like really big player breakdowns weren't really. I just didn't pay attention to stuff like that. If I saw it, if I read it, then there it was. And I think more so going into this season is when I've really felt like I've paid way more attention to percentage rates in accuracy in not only singles but in teams as well, just to kind of get a better view of the game. It really has enhanced my view of the game as a fan. So anyone who puts in all of these extra times to do the stats and numbers and all of that stuff, big shout out to all of that. So Meg, thank you for doing all that you for the Schmoedown. Shout out to everyone else who's doing. I know I've seen a lot of that stuff on the Facebook page. People are making graphs and doing all of these things. Now it's really changed up from when Janice started doing stuff like this. So
yeah, really absolutely.
See that view of the game progress the way that it's progressed, and it's helped me kind of really appreciate it as a fan.
Yeah, and it's like it's another layer, but also understanding that it's still very much true any given day. You know, you could say that someone statistically should not be at a specific place by the end of the season, but then they go on this run that you can't predict, and it just makes things fun. I love to be able to look at the numbers, but I like even more to be surprised when someone does something I don't expect, and it just totally changes up the landscape of their graph, of their statistics. So that's what makes it so cool.
Very cool. All right. Any final thoughts on that match before we move on to the second match we're going to cover this evening? Which is, if we're good to go,
I think we got that one.
Ben the Boss Bateman versus Debonair Drew Guy.
So many emotions.
So many emotions. As you all know, we are all Action Army, but we're all not on the same side of the war. So, there's a lot of, tension between people in this group.
And then we have me who, on the grounds of being a statistician, stays very neutral, and I get a lot of flack for that, but too bad. Yeah, I'm sticking to it.
I like that. Anytime we're on this discussion thing is that I kind of try to tend to stay neutral. I'm like, as the host, I feel like I need to be kind of neutral. And like you guys all have their opinions. I totally relate to that feeling. Like,
and it's like it's not even that necessarily I'm doing it just for the sake of being stats. I love both of them for different reasons. So I can't, in good conscience, really choose between one of the two just for the sake of choosing, because I'd be neglecting the fact that I really appreciate this about one of them, and I really appreciate that about another one. So
yeah.
And I came into the Schmoedown after Team Action had already broken up. So it was kind of one of those, I came into it already seeing them separately and assessing them separately. And then it was after watching them as Team Action, I'm like, I really appreciate this team up, but I also understand and I see where they've developed later on in their careers. So that's my perspective on that, and that's kind of what dictates my thoughts on that.
I love that, especially because I know that Kelsey's been a Team Action fan for a long time as well, and so like watching Team Action go from where they were to where they are now to Guy versus Bateman 2 is intense as fans watch the change. So as someone who's been watching them for a long time, listening to someone who hasn't really seen them as Team Action, that's a fun and interesting opinion to hear about it, and I love that. I think that's great.
I definitely, having now gone back and watched all the old Team Action matches, I can definitely see where I probably would not have been a fan initially of them, just because I didn't grow up with the wrestling aspect. So it's taken me a little bit to get into that groove. But like now that I've been involved for a while, I totally get and I totally love it. But I probably would not have been a fan initially. It's taken me a little while to come around to that. So
there's a lot of Action Army people and fans are like, I hated them until I saw them elsewhere. And then I realized, oh, they're great. And then I love them.
Yeah, that really was for a long time. So many people absolutely despised Team Action and would get upset at people who were fans of Team Action, asking why they would root for someone who's such a jerk like that.
Well, and most of the bigger characters, they're just a slight exaggeration of themselves. Oh, am I out?
You broke up.
You're back in.
So most of the original characters. So one of the original characters were just exaggerating themselves, whereas Ben and Drew were vastly different from how they are in real life. So that took a while to get into that mindset for people, I think.
Yeah. And I think that's what was fun for me, because I was already watching them on Action Anatomy before they were Team Action. So to see them come in and be Team Action was so much fun. It was so much fun. And that's what helped me I had never even heard of the word kayfabe before the Schmoedown and before getting into Team Action, because I'm not a part of that wrestling world. And so I watched it when I was a kid, but only because my brothers watched it and because my best friends watched it. So I was around it, and I still got mad love for Bret Hart. So that's the closest that I have to wrestling. So Team Action helped me understand that that part of the Schmoedown, and that's why I'll always love them and always appreciate their characters, and because I've been fans of Ben and Drew for a very long time, and I want to support them in everything that they do, and I think that they're doing so well, and it's so great to see the progression that they've done inside of the Schmoedown together and separately.
Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely. Speaking of which, very, very different characters now coming into this match. We had the boss. I feel like the boss is back. There was a while where he was trying to do the face thing, and now he's just accepted, I'm the boss. I'm just gonna do my thing. If I'm a tweener, if I'm whatever I am, I'm what I am. I'm just gonna be myself, the boss, and I love that. And then we have Andrew, who I hope he's okay. Like, he seems to be going through something. He looked a little sweaty and had a few drinks kind of going around.
Now, I will have to say, when I saw the sweaty shirt, I'm like, oh, this is funny on multiple levels. If anyone is familiar with Action Movie Anatomy, you know exactly.
I about screamed when I saw the sweat. I laughed so hard. I couldn't even believe it. I thought that was hilarious. And I thought it was a nice little shot. I felt like that was like listening to the Action Army also.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny. My ex-husband, never into Schmoedown. Like, we were married, not into Schmoedown, but he watched this match because he was interested in the Kevin Smith Jericho or anything like that. And he texted me, he's like, is he usually that sweaty? I had to explain. I'm like, well, no, but it's kind of a callback to something.
But this one time.
There was a time, yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, but yeah, so besides storyline, kayfabe stuff aside, what did you guys think of this match? Like the actual gameplay, round one, and things like that. Danielle, what were your thoughts?
Man, there's first and foremost, y'all, and I saw it in the chat already. It's got a weird salted feeling. Everything kind of from yesterday does. So after hearing the passing of Chadwick Boseman, everything just kind of feels kind of like a bummer. So I'm so sorry. I just completely lost my train of thought because I've been bummed out about that all day long and since all day long yesterday. So big rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman and all that. So my energy is kind of low. So that's why, please excuse me. Do not think that I was not excited about this match because I was super pumped and ready to watch Andrew Guy and Ben Bateman go at it with each other, especially with Debonair's crazy character that's going on right now. Like, we have no idea what's going on with Drew, but watching the first round, I was kind of cringing just a tiny bit, just a little bit, just because I don't know what it was really. I don't know how to react to this, y'all, because I liked it. I did, but I really wanted Guy to do better. And I do feel like maybe his character kind of hurt him a little bit. And I really don't want to say that about Drew because I love Andrew Guy and I love what he's doing with the Schmoedown and with his character. But I mean, if I'm being honest, like I really feel like it kind of hurt just a little bit. And it was just a little bit of a bummer to see. Ben did what I thought Ben was gonna do and went lights out on round one and did very well in round one. So big shout out to Ben Bateman for that. Ben Bateman watches movies. That's all.
Yeah,
watches movies.
We'll just say that.
Yeah.
And Megs, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, and similar to Danie, I think the character aspect kind of got reined in by the time the second round rolled around, but I think there was a exaggeration at that very beginning of round one where it's like, okay, he's so character and still last.
Oh.
Can you see and hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, it looked like there was almost a slight duality of he was trying to maintain his character, but he was getting frustrated that he was missing questions that he should have known.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of compounded upon itself a little bit. I don't think it necessarily got in the way. It just made it a little more scattered when he was trying to maintain both at the same time.
Yep. I think I feel similarly, where I feel like trying to focus on the character, stuff like that, always, I think no matter what, who you are and things like that, doing your character does take, let's say, 10% of your brain away from the trivia, just because you're trying to maintain something.
Yeah.
And if you miss a couple questions, I know me personally, I would be like, oh crap. Now what I'm going to do? I'm running behind now, things like that. So then you have that kind of pressure on you. Plus you're the undercard to the biggest match in like Schmoedown history. I can see all that stuff kind of just, kind of getting in your head a little bit. Like, I know Drew's a fantastic player. He's one of the best character work people in the entire Schmoedown history and should go down in history for it. I do think it was just a weird combination of things. It just made it a rougher match for him. And my kids, though, loved it. They don't care about points. They don't care about who wins. They care about the kayfabe stuff. And they're just like, what's wrong with Drew? He's like, they just loved it, though. They thought it was so funny and great.
That's great.
They were perfectly excited.
I haven't shown my mom the match yet. So my mom, for anyone who doesn't know, my mom's the biggest Andrew Guy fan. So I haven't shown her the match yet. So I might live tweet her reaction to the match I think it'll be funny. She's going to be very concerned.
Yes. I think we all are at one point or another, we're like, is this a real problem? What's going on?
Drew, are you having social, do you need a hug?
Do I actually have to reach out right now?
Oh, honestly, his character work right now is like how I feel inside during quarantine right now. Just like I feel like I'm slowly losing.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that what he's been building up to for the past couple months, they're able to capitalize on down the road. I would love to see that satisfaction for them that they've done all this work with him and him building all this character for it to be able to lead somewhere by the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
That will just bring everything full circle
mm-hmm.
for him as a character.
I agree. I definitely feel like we need that. Any storyline with him, and it makes me happy. So.
Yes. He's been part of some of the biggest pivotal storylines in recent years, and that's why he's the best. He's good at it. Yep. He gets relied on for that because he can handle it.
Yep.
It's always team guy in this house, baby.
Yep. I mean, as Team Bateman, I'll have to admit, I was pretty happy because I think Ben is the greatest player in Schmoedown history. But part of that is kayfabe stuff because I do think Drew is the best character work ever happened to Schmoedown history and one of the top players as well. So, always mixed feelings watching things that happen like that. But my little Team Bateman heart was very excited that he did so well with his perfect game. Perfect game. Proud.
Yeah. Is this his first completely perfect game?
Yes. So he's had 100% accuracy, but he's not had a 100% accuracy and 100% potential points earned. So this is officially.
Nice.
Which is super exciting. Like when I started really tallying it up, I'm like, oh, yes, it happened. I'm so happy. My little stats heart was beating. I'm so happy.
Oh, that's so funny. Only 1 out of 2 perfect games ever thrown. That's amazing. Do you know who has the second one, Meg?
I believe it was, if we're talking overall, I think it's Mets from Spectacular. But
I have no idea.
If I'm recalling correctly, again, I don't have every match, but as far as I can tell in singles, this is the first time it's happened.
Nice.
So,
shout out
to absolutely. I'll say, and I know Alex Damon in Star Wars has either had a completely perfect game or been really darn close, and then Smets again at Spectacular, which I think he did.
That's a good one.
Technically, yeah. I can't remember now off the top of my head or not he technically was perfect. He might have had a steal miss, but without pulling it up completely. If y'all want me to double check, I can. But
oh no, you don't have to.
You can keep vamping while I.
If we're good at anything, it's vamping.
Yeah, I figured that wouldn't be a problem.
We like to talk.
Just a little bit. But overall, with the first round between the two of them, it was really interesting. I loved it whenever the first question came out, and it was action adventure. And Andrew Guy goes, "Hey,
we know this."
I thought that was really funny and kind of cute. I did kind of feel like that performance was sprinkled in with a bunch of little Action Army Easter eggs in there. So that was that's cute.
Well, that whole speech that Ben did at the very beginning, talking about the act, I'm like, oh,
yeah. It's nice. I mean, I know that we all do a lot of fun stuff with it, and we all call Ben a traitor and stuff like that, but it's all completely out of love. Yeah, Kelsey's never, ever.
I'll say Kelsey never does.
Ever.
I officially have not. I just hear it all the time and try to stay out of it. It's like, I am neutral. Keep me out of this.
Yeah.
Don't make me choose.
But yes,
Smets did throw a perfect game. The only thing that tarnishes it is he did not bet 3 points in the betting round, which is I'm a little tacky on that one. I haven't quite fully figured out my stance on that. If that in my mind is an asterisk to that is actually a perfect game, because you are
it is one potential point that could have
it's one potential point that tips it off. So
yeah, but it was the amount of points that he chose to be able to get.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, to be determined on that one.
TBD.
TBD. Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to pull up the stats again. We could go over again, like look at that round 1 with Ben, like perfect plus the bonus. So proud.
Oh my God.
Tim Burton and Harrison Ford. It's very interesting that those were like the round 2 things. Like there's certain ones that either just have not come up or not very much. So I was very interested to see like what questions. I did way worse on Tim Burton than I thought I would have. Because just in my head, which ones pop in my head, like, that's Tim Burton movie. It's like, oh yeah, but he does have a lot of other stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, and it was interesting that he just, whether or not he already had in his head that he was comfortable with Tim Burton, or if it was just in the moment, he's like, let's just stick with this because I don't want to risk anything else on the wheel for guys specifically.
Yep. That would totally make sense for me because I'm really bad about looking at the rest of the wheel. I kind of just focus on what people spin and things like that. But there's probably some slices that he was like, I don't want those slices. Yeah. So when he didn't get those slices, he's like, well, this is good enough. I don't want to risk it. So
right. And if he is a little bit more, I think he does. I've heard him reference some Tim Burton stuff, so that might be kind of something that he is very comfortable with.
Yeah, and I think also because I feel like I haven't really seen Tim Burton too many times chosen from the wheel. So there's still that potential that there's the possibility for some easier questions because it isn't.
It's not as deep cut.
Yeah. But man, the big fish question. Broke my heart, and in so many ways that a lot of other people, anyone who really like knows me, understands why the big fish question specifically broke my heart. And for Andrew to not listen, or not that he didn't listen. I don't want to say
didn't hear it.
Didn't hear it correctly, and that just was a huge bummer to see because he knew the answer, and that's what really, really bummed me out because he knew the answer, and then I feel like it's at that point really when you saw him kind of change a little bit more, and it just, man, that was a bummer for me. So.
Yeah, and that the one miss in round 2 was another one where it was like he didn't quite catch what the question was, which I'm sorry, are you referring to that one, Danie, or are you thinking of, okay.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't pay as close of attention.
Yeah. It was the Ewan McGregor was the answer to it. And he said Billy Crudup because I think he thought that there was asking who was Edward Bloom's son and not who was Edward Bloom.
Yes.
Whatever, or who played the younger Edward Bloom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one thing that
would definitely
could make a big deal in a match is whether you can hear the questions right or not, especially as people who use Streamlab or StreamYard all the time. I can't imagine like trying to like focus and listen that deeply into a question because like sometimes I can't hear you guys because like it just crackles for some reason or things like that. It's just, and then just the amount of pressure trying to listen to it as well. I constantly, even with it being written on the bottom screen, mishear questions and stuff. And I'm like, wait, now I have to go back and read it to make sure I heard it right. So it's something I can see happening, and it's unfortunate, but it does happen.
Yeah. It's a bummer.
Yeah. And it's a lot because, like, we get to read it. Like, the audience a lot of times is like, why did... It's like, we get to read it. They don't. They have to go 100% off of listening to it, and that does in studio and online. So, like, that's one thing about Schmoedown that I don't think I'd be as good playing. If I could read the question, I feel like I'd be better at it. But just having to do off here, I know I won't be good as Schmoedown.
Whenever I'm watching a match, I try to listen to it only when I hear it, see if I know the answer to the question.
Right.
If I don't, then I freely read it. But I try to, so I can still kind of get that same feeling. But I don't do movie trivia. So I'm not that good at it.
Yeah, the other. All right. Any final thoughts on that match before we move on? We won't be breaking down the Kevin Smith Jericho match because we want to do like an actual breakdown on it. Because I think a lot of us are really excited to talk about it, so we want to have like a bigger panel and things like that. So we're just gonna hold off until we can get something together. So
yeah.
Well, and I will just say the fact that I'm putting Chris Jericho and Kevin Smith on a stat sheet, I'm just like, this is so surreal. It's like for me, like going through that, I'm like, how did we get here?
How did
this is crazy?
Here? I do have to say though, I know that we're gonna break it down in another match.
Right?
But just your thoughts. Yeah, fine.
Was one I couldn't believe, like, I was watching it and I was just like with my, like, I legit was in, like, my hands on my, I was like this the entire time, just like with like the biggest like googly eyes looking at it to see like how far the Schmoedown has come and what they're doing. Like it was a huge deal. Like you don't like, we all knew it was a big deal. We all knew it was a big deal, not just for the names that were on there, but for everyone who knows these people and for what the Schmoedown is. It's a fucking wrestler against a director. Like that's so tight. Like that's so cool. And they did well. And that's not to say anything against any of the other celebrity matches that we've seen. And this wasn't technically a celebrity match. Like it was an actual faction pointed match, stuff like that. But this was absolutely, like, if this doesn't win match of the year, I don't know what could top this, because this was just fun all around. And the fact that it went to Sunday, oh man, I can't wait to talk about this.
Yeah, I know, me too. I have so many things, but like, yeah, even like gameplay aside, so like that, you can tell how much they loved playing. Like, you know, like when they first got started, you know, the ride's like, yeah, we're gonna play. But as soon as like both of them got into the match, you get to see their enthusiasm get up. Like, I'm doing good at this. This is fun. I want to keep playing.
It warmed my heart.
Yeah, and I would like, the only other thing I will say is just I was very happy that I decided that for this one, I'm like, I'm not gonna write it on any stats stuff. I'm not gonna have my paper in front of me. I am just gonna sit and enjoy both these matches. And I was so glad that I did, because that match was just a joy to watch.
So much
and
fun.
to just take in.
I loved it.
But
I don't have anything else to say about Andrew Guy and Ben. No, I do. I'm sorry, I do. Just about the match. Congratulations to Ben Bateman for going 100 on it. Love it. Andrew Guy's, the post-match stuff was kind of tough to watch because of what I don't know what happened. I really have no idea what happened, but he wasn't there for most of it, and I think it would have been fun to kind of get a little bit more insight from it. I think that's it. I feel like that's it. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah, whether or not that's going to ultimately play into the storyline too, because like he did kind of really dial down the character and talk about some of the things that he knew that he missed, and that just things that didn't go his way. But then he switched back into the, I gotta go. There's so many things going on. And I'm just like, okay, are you back in character and this is part of the bit? Or is this a gut reaction? I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Schmoedown.
Like I said, to be determined where this whole storyline leads, but I am all in for it, whatever it does.
Yeah. Same here.
Same.
All right. Well, I am ready to go start talking about things that are happening in the Schmoedown this coming week. These last few weeks have been so stacked. It's not slowing down at all. I'm so tired from everything. Schmoedown is so much right now, but I am enjoying every second of it. So I'm ready to talk about upcoming match predictions, where we could talk about all the cool stuff scheduled in the Schmoedown this coming week, which starting with on Monday, we have Miller versus Silvestrini, and then we have Snyder versus Montano, and then Barbarian versus Seibold, and then Riley versus Video Drew. Is that, I don't even know what days of the week are anymore. Is that all next week?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, Friday. So then Bibiani versus White or Moran. is then Friday, I believe. Nope.
Yeah. Wait.
Nope. That's Monday. That's next week. Okay.
All wrong.
Days of the week, time. What is time? It is a contract. Okay, so we're doing Miller all the way through Riley. So that's what we have to talk about.
Yes. So swag, drip. But
that's your girl.
Yeah, yes. Well, swag, I'm definitely there for swag, but I love Rachel Silvestrini so much.
I know.
She's the best, and she's a big fan of the pod, so shout out.
Absolutely.
Love her so much, and I really want to see her continue on and do well throughout the entire thing, or throughout the Schmoedown and just everything in general. I love Rachel, and I love watching her play, so I'm excited about this one. And it's her against Liz, so it's going to be against two girls, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Megs, what are your thoughts?
So I really hope that it's a close match, because we've seen what level of knowledge Liz Shannon Miller has. And I'm really hoping that the work that Rachel has put in over this past year will pay off for her and that they can have a really close competitive match. I don't necessarily have that. This one's a pick 'em for me. It could definitely go either way. I don't have strong feelings one way or the other because I can see both of them being able to pull it out. But I hope that it goes into all 3 rounds and that it's tight.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this match. I am also very torn because I know Liz Shannon Miller is a fantastic player, but I'm also a good friend of Rachel's, and I want her to do really well as well. It always bums me out, though. I love that it's 2 women. I'm super excited for that, but also bums me out when it's early on in the bracket. So that means just by default, there's going to be less women further on within there just because somebody has to get eliminated earlier on in the tournament. So that's kind of a bummer. But I am excited for this match. I am going to go with Rachel because I do think she could pull the win. But you're right. It could go either way because listen, Shannon Miller is a fantastic player. Rachel's been studying her butt off. But I got to root for Rachel because she's one of my favorite people on the planet. We love you, Rachel. Not biased at all.
No, not at all. Sorry.
Own it. You're fine.
All right, and then the next match we have Snyder versus Montano. Danielle, what are your thoughts?
I'm so pumped about this match. I'm excited to see Robert come into the Schmoedown and do some more. I really want Robert to take this. I really hope Robert wins. Jeff Snyder's he's a champ. He was one of the longest running team championship belt holders for so long. He's been a part of the Schmoedown for a very long time, so it's tough to say what way it could go, but you can't put Robert Montano on the back burner. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right, Robert. I'm so sorry if I'm not. I'm so sorry if I'm not. You can't put him on the back burner because I think we've seen what he's done inside of the league and he has done well. So it'll be really interesting to see this match. I hope Robert takes it. I want Robert to take it. And I'm not going to put any money on the match, but I'm going to go with Robert for this one.
All right. Megs?
So again, Danie, I feel like Robert is going to be underestimated coming into this because I've recently seen what him and Late to the Party did against Team Action, and the type of game that I saw from him makes me very hopeful that he can pull out an upset in this one. And Snyder's a little touch and go when it comes to singles. So, and he's similar to Kalinowski that way, that he can be really good or he can self-destruct. So it'll depend on which Snyder we get, but I would, for the sake of the fact that I know he has shown to be very good, I'd like to see Robert pull this one out.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. I mean, it's hard to vote against Snyder because he's a former champ multiple times on multiple teams. He is a force to be reckoned with, but I also know Robert is a fantastic player. He studies his butt off. He is so funny and so smart. I want him to win. I think it'd be a fantastic upset. I want to see him go further, but it will be a challenge. It's definitely but you are right though. Snyder can kind of put himself in a bad situation and not do as well either. So I want Robert to win. That's why I have winning, but it's definitely up in the air, honestly.
Yeah. I think so. It'll be interesting. I think that's one of after the Perry KO match was one that I was really looking forward to, and then on the same thing on that side of the bracket, that match is definitely something that I was looking forward to.
Yeah, and like it was kind of again the same thing with Perry and Kalinowski. I thought that Kalinowski would take it, but it was going to vastly depend on his mindset, and as we saw, it played against him.
Absolutely. All right. And the next one we have is Barbarian versus Cybold.
Yes.
I can't do it. I'm sorry.
I know, right?
I tried my hardest.
We tried, Barbarian. We just can't do what you do.
No, can't. But as I love Whitney so much. I love him as a person, as a character in the Schmoedown for as much character work that he does in it. But I do love to watch him play. But same thing with Craig, man. And Craig is just a force on trivia. So I do think that this is one of those that could also very much be, it could go either way with it. This was also a very hard one for me to choose from because I love both of those people, those characters so much, and would love to see either one of them go through. But man, my first gut instinct, like if you played that game with me, like where you just said names out really fast and who to pick, I think I would go with Barbarian.
Yeah. All right, Megs, what are your thoughts?
Again, it's another pick'em. There are so many matchups in this tournament that have been pick'ems for me, and this is another one. Again, we've seen Whitney Cybold come so close so many times with a high-scoring match that he should have won, but he still isn't able to pull it out. So I'd like to see him pull it out for a round one, but also can't deny Barbarian's on a run, and he's on a terror. And I love the fact that he dove into IG and did as well as he did for that not being his main focus. So that just makes me hopeful that he can be a dominant force in now a singles that is more in what he was initially gunning for. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it could go either way. Whitney, as you was pointed out, is that he is so close so many times. If he was playing like any other match, he would have won the matches. It's just that one time that person scored really, really well, or he's put up against somebody that scores really, really high normally. But Barbarian is one of those people who scores really, really high.
Yeah.
So unless the wheel doesn't pay off in his favor and things like that, I do think the Barbarian's gonna pull the win. Although I love Whitney. I want to see more of Whitney. It's just it just never works out for him and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
All right. And then we have the last one of the week, Riley versus Video Drew.
This is the one that I'm looking forward to the most. Honestly. I know that I said that one before, but really it's this one. Because it's the same thing with Mark Riley. Like I feel like Mark Riley just kind of we know he's a great player. We've seen how well he's done, but man, sometimes does he just get the damn short end of the stick, and it bums me out. And I want to see Mark Riley do well, but also at the same time, like I love Drew, and I love what Drew's doing with her character. I think I think what she's doing is a wonderful example of character work in the Schmoedown, and how to kind of keep it like a neutral to where you can still move fluidly with your character. I think Drew would do well if she was a heel, like if she kind of found like her own heel vibe. I think she could do that really well, and I believe that she can completely pull off being a babyface just because she can do that. She's got a unique character, but it's not a character that sits on any side of the good evil.
Yeah,
it's a universal persona that can get swayed based on how you play it off, which is I believe, amazing.
Yes, which I believe Mark Riley has also, because I do very much like at Mark Riley like the Superman of the Schmoedown. So he's like the nicest dude, just an all-around good guy, but is gonna get shit done, right? So I don't ever really see him as like a full heel or anything like that. I think that he can very much play into it, but I want to see Mark Riley go and do well in a tournament. I feel like sometimes Mark Riley gets left out of the conversation when they talk about the Finch Stock Exchange players, and you always hear about Dan, Roca, and Ben. Sometimes I feel like Mark doesn't get into that conversation as much, but I think it's because he doesn't get the opportunity to play as much. We've seen the upsets, like the Stacey Howard upset last year. That was nuts. So I really want to see Mark Riley do well. We all know he's a great competitor, all of that good stuff. I'm not choosing. I'm not choosing this one. I'm just
finally someone come over to my side of actually staying neutral on something for once. Come on.
I can't choose captain. I can't. I'm sorry.
What are your thoughts, Megs?
So totally agree with Danie, and like Video Drew's character work is amazing. She has done so good of a job of kind of towing that line of being a strategist and playing the game, but also having a very unique and different type of character. But also, Riley was one of kind of the original guys from Collider that I really latched onto as someone inside the Schmoedown that I wanted to succeed. I wanted to see him kind of come back into the spotlight of having the belts and having that prestige that he had there at the beginning. So, Video Drew, I love you, girl, but I am going to choose Riley.
Oh, I am so torn because, like,
I think it'll be close, but I think he will pull it out.
It's super hard when you feel like you've developed friendships with people in the Schmoedown too.
And tell me about it.
And Riley are some of my favorite people outside of the Schmoedown, like just visiting and having fun with at like events and things like that. So when it's a situation like that, when it's versus each other, it hurts so bad. So it's like, can we just have a tie?
Make it around here somehow.
Can we just have it be a tie and just leave it? That'd be great. Yeah.
I have not had a chance to. I had one stream where I was on with Video Drew, but I haven't had a chance to really get to know her. Whereas Riley, I've spent a little bit more time with. So I think that's kind of what sways it a little bit. And the same thing with Who's the Boss matches too. Like, I know both of these guys so well, and to see that. And to see them go through matches, like, it just really takes you through the ringer if you let it. Wonder
who that is.
Wonder who that could be.
I want to pull a Danielle right now and be like, I opt out of this.
I'll say I've opted out of several of these, so I think you can. I still hold the record so far, so I think you're okay.
I'll just say I feel like it could go either way. I feel like it just kind of depends on like how Riley's feeling and stuff like that, because we did see how the Who's the Boss match things went. So if we get that Riley, I don't think he's gonna win. But if we don't, I absolutely think he could possibly win. And then Video Drew, I've heard behind the scenes stuff that she is studying her butt off. She is ready to go. She's super motivated, excited. So she could absolutely win this. It could totally happen. And also Mark can. So I'm gonna say I don't know. I'm gonna say neutral because I don't know.
Yeah. Alex had said something in the chat earlier about how Drew feels her. Drew considers herself a full heel, a super heel, and that she would be offended by what I said. And I apologize, Video Drew.
Maybe we can't tell that that's what she's doing because we are all such heels. We've not established that Call to Action doesn't know what heels and faces are.
We can't figure it out either.
We can't figure it out. What is a heel? Anyways, we have a Streamlab that came in from Ferris, one of our favorite people. We love you, Ferris. And it says, OMG, 3 of the most amazing ladies I have ever seen. I fucking love you all. And Megs, I'm a big fan of yours. #Action Army, #Team Bateman.
All right. I appreciate
it.
What? You just like knocked the breath out of me. Jeez, you took my breath away and not in.
I know, she was like,
I know.
There's just like a range of emotions happening.
I don't know what you meant. I can't believe. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Love you, Fatis.
Ferris has just put her on a total
I know.
roller coaster.
I was bracing myself because I'm like, Ferris, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say?
Come
on.
I need to screen share, Paul.
Kelsey made it.
Ferris, verify in the chat that there it says Team Bateman on there. It does. All right. So that's the matches coming up this week. So I think it is time to talk about our shows coming out this week. Some amazing stuff's happening on the channel. Speaking of which, Danielle, do you want me to play the trailer or do you want to talk about what's happening tomorrow on Chill?
Play the tape.
All right, I'll play the tape.
Play the tape.
Woo!
That's right. But Chill to Action is going to be tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. I believe it's at the same time. I'm so sorry that I don't actually remember the actual time that it's going to start. But I'm pretty sure it's going to start at its normal time. If not, Paul will let anyone
correct us.
Correct me right now if you Thank you. Same chill time. Except that it's tomorrow. So tomorrow night, come and hang out with me, Paul, Dan, and Mara, Kelsey, and Billy. I'm not sure that was supposed to be a surprise or not. So I'm sorry that I just got the spoiler alert. Sorry. Spoiler alert.
I am so excited you guys are getting those two on. It's like is that one of the Of course.
This is if y'all ever notice that it's usually Paul who plugs Chill, this is why. I'm sorry. No, thank you, Meg. Big shout out to Paul because Paul's been busting his butt trying to.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
That really has been something that we've really tried to lock in for a very long time now.
That's what I've heard. Kind of the backstage stories I've been hearing. I'm like, oh yes,
yeah. We wanted them.
Yeah, yes. December. So.
It's going to be worth the wait though, because not only are we getting them on, we're getting them on together, which I'm super excited about. Yes. I love them. They are one of the Schmoedown couples. They're so adorable together, and
they really
I love when we do couple interviews. It's great.
Get your questions ready for them and send them to us either in Streamlabs or wherever you need to. Streamlabs will just take priority. So, woo!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. And then coming up on Wednesday, we always have, or at least most times, Schmoebates with Alex Mac Daddy. I don't know what the theme is this time. It's always kind of in the works. And if she does know, she can correct us in the chat and I will say it out loud. But Wednesday, Schmoebates, amazing show. If you are not watching that show, check it out. It is amazing. It is very adrenaline filled. Mm-hmm. You will be shouting at the screen like, "Come on, why is that person winning?" Or be super excited. It's you can invest in. It's a great show.
Having been on it a couple times, it is a rush and so much fun.
Yes, it is. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Corruption theme.
Corruption's the theme.
I thought that was what they were discussing.
Yeah. Shannon Barney is co-host. Herself. And then Marisol McKee versus Chance Ellison. That is going to be a do not miss match, guys.
Okay.
And then we can't tell you the ghost judge, but you will find out during the match. So it's always somebody super amazing.
And that I don't know, so I can't spoil it. Hey! This is why they don't tell me.
So yeah, that's going to be fantastic. And then, of course, we'll have breakdowns and things coming up as matches happen. And then we'll maybe squeeze in a Twitch stream. We don't plan those. We kind of plan them like 2 hours before. Hey, guys, you want to hang out? So we will let you know on social media if those are happening. And then, of course, live now on Saturdays. Make sure to update your calendars, guys. Saturday night, live. Sunday, chilled action. We've shifted over a day. Everything else be the same. So.
Yeah, and we'll do this whole formal thing. We're Chill is gonna take a week off next week also, so we're switching some things up, trying to make them more entertaining experience for everyone out there. So, yay.
Woohoo. All right. And then for our final segment of the show, we have questions from the chat. Get your questions in. Oops, pushed it twice. Either through Streamlabs or Super Chats. Those take priority, but we will try to get to other ones in the chat as well, depending on time. So get your questions in. While we wait for those amazing questions, we're going to give our plugs, starting with Danielle. Where can people find you?
You know me, it's your girl, Danie Joy. You can find me on Twitter at DanieJoy, DanieEjoy. You can also find me here oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to change that now. You can find me here on the call to action every Sunday doing chill to action. That's going to be fun. I got to get used to that one. But you know me, you can find me on Twitter at DanieJoy and here on this channel. And look for me on the Facebooks. Woo!
Woohoo! And Megs, where can people...
I'm sorry, Kelsey. On the Facebook page.
So you can be at Instagram.
You're cutting out.
At Megs, where we plan to do that correctly. Am I back?
Nope, not yet. Nope,
and we're waiting. We're waiting.
I think you're good now.
Hopefully you will find me with better internet sometime in the coming months. But I also post quite often on the MTS Facebook page, so you can find me there as well.
Very cool, very cool. And you can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. I also run the Call to Action podcast Instagram, so you can interact with me there. TeePublic, we've got merch, we've got masks. There was a sale going on. Not sure if it's still happening, but if it is, go get your shirts, go get your masks, because you need to wear a mask. And you can find me on Twitch at KelseyKinsGamer. I haven't been on there very much because my internet's been wacky, but it seems to have settled down, so I should be this week getting back into the groove, playing some video games. I'm super excited about it. All right, let's see about questions from the chat.
I already know my favorite one. I can already see my favorite question in the chat right now.
Okay. Starting with Alex. Favorite young adult movie adaptation?
Ooh, this is an interesting one.
And then she added dystopian or non.
That's a good one. I feel like it's hard to not say Hunger Games because for what it's worth, the adaptation was fine. I do feel like there's a lot of things that I feel could have improved the movies, but for the most part, I think that they did the book series pretty well for it. And I, mostly because I'm trying to think of anything specifically YA. YA is not the genre that I gravitate towards, so that's why I just can't really think of anything I'm trying to get into YA. I really am. But I think I'm gonna have to go with the Hunger Games on this one, just as a cop out because I can't think of anything else.
Cool. And Megs, what's your choice?
I want to say the Hunger Games was the one that came to mind initially. I'm not coming up with any other adaptations that really amazed me. I did really like the way that they did. It's more young children, but Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, Lord of the Rings is a favorite of mine. The first one definitely was the best as far as staying true to the books, specifically. But I mean, Hunger Games is definitely the one that's kind of stood out to me as one that it was the first one that popped in my head. So I'd have to. I would say, and I just saw Alex Bridge of Terabithia was also very good. So that's kind of
not seen that movie, but I do know what I know the story. I haven't read the book.
Yeah. Josh Hutcherson is one of my favorites as far as from that age group. So I definitely enjoyed seeing him in that.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Since you said or non-dystopian, I'm gonna say Love, Simon, because you did give me that option. Because I love that movie. It makes me happy, cry every time I watch it. The book, I read the book a while ago. I need to reread it because I hadn't read it recently when I'd seen it. But I just love that movie. That was like probably one of my favorite movies of that year as well. It's so cute and sweet. And I saw it with the right group of people. We were in the audience with a bunch of like teenage girls. So like there's a certain scene that happens at the end, not spoiled for it, and all the girls are like, it was just like it was almost like a end game experience where the whole audience was like having a reaction. And so
nice.
And I'll say one that I didn't think I was gonna like, and I was almost forced to watch, but I did also like it, was Fault in Our Stars.
Mm-hmm.
It made me want to cry, but I was really glad I watched it. It was like, it was not one that I would have chosen on my own, but I was definitely glad that I did watch it.
I really liked the movie To All the Boys I Loved Before. I liked the
yes.
I
haven't either.
So that I can't judge it on adaptation wise because I haven't read the book. Same thing with Fault in Our Stars, Perks of Being a Wallflower. I haven't read those books. So I don't.
Yeah. I could go on a Danie rant on ones about not so good adaptations of great books. Danie, I feel like you and I should get on this because
I've got opinions too.
We'll talk about this at some point for sure.
We should.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Our next question for Megs: Team Guy or Team Trader?
I knew this was going to happen. To which I shall emphatically say, I am disinclined to acquiesce to your request.
I love it.
All right. Next question: what is your favorite song from Mariah Carey?
The entire Butterfly album. The Butterfly album is my answer. That's the only correct answer.
I don't like Mariah Carey. I can tell you which my least favorite song is, which is the Christmas song that plays in 90 million times. I hate that song so much. I get instant rage when it comes on. Oh, I want work. And it's like, yeah, you see full Belford mode from Kelsey when that song comes on the radio.
I love Christmas music. I'm that dummy that puts Christmas carols on like as soon as October is over. It's Christmas time. I'm that bitch. I'm that. So.
Megs, do you have a favorite Mariah Carey song?
Oh, yep. Am I back now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I was so hoping that this would stay strong for this one. So Mariah is not one that I follow really well. So there's probably a few that I know that I like. I just can't come up with the names of them. So I'll have to do a pass on that one because I can't come up with anything specific in my head.
Very cool. All right. Next question. Three-way trivia match between Danie, Kelsey, and Meg. What would you pick as strengths and who would win? Well, I would not win. So
I don't think any of us would claim to.
I think it's going to be, if we're all kind of on the same page, I think it's going to be like a Dagnino, Robert Martin Burnett match all over again, where we're like 3 points against 4 points, maybe. I don't know.
It depends.
Yeah. I think I really feel good from the questions that I've heard about Pixar. That one I feel really confident in. And the few that I've heard about family films, I feel like I might be able to do okay in those. Those are kind of the categories that I tend to, those are my comfort movies, y'all. So I love animated movies. Animation is one of my favorite things. So I feel like animated movies would also be a strength. Anything in that sort of coming of age, family films, animated, Disney, Pixar, I feel like those would be something that I would use. Directors, movie release dates, no. Absolutely not. No. Real movie trivia, no. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I feel like I'm in a similar boat where it's like, okay, like the inner geekdom realm is kind of where I've spent a lot of my time watching movies. However, most of my retention is in quotes and plot specifics. So like, ask me who played what. I'm getting better at figure and paying attention to that for the most part, but I could like quote you most or half of multiple movies. But ask me who played what, I'm like, maybe I can tell you what other part they might have played in, but yeah, I definitely.
That's me too. I mean, if we're talking about the main league, I guess I'd have to say Inner Geekdom because that's the main slice. But if we're talking all over, I'd probably do DCEU. I also, though, I'm terrible with directors, scores, who played who. But if you ask me plot specific stuff, I'm pretty good in all those categories. If I've seen the movie a couple times, like I'll know what happened in scenes or what color something is and things like that. But I'm terrible with names.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of categories that I've come across where it's like I know specific pockets of knowledge about that slice. Like it's not like I have one slice where I'm like, I know I could probably definitely get this, besides maybe Disney or animated. But like certain ones where it's like sports movies. Anything that's Gavin O'Connor, I'm good.
Yeah.
I can handle this. But in like, again, just nitpicks niches inside of slices is more of, I don't concentrate on one particular one versus the other. I have a pretty wide range of things that I've paid attention to over the years.
I do also think I would do well in Kubrick, and that would be the only.
Now see, horror is where you guys lose me. I do not get into horror. Sorry.
Not all of his movies are horror movies. The Shining is my absolute favorite movie ever. But that's the only like other category that I feel like I would do well.
Yeah, like the horror thrillers, like I definitely, if you give me a choice, it's like I have seen some thrillers, like the more political, psychological thrillers. I know I've seen several of those, but if you're talking about straight up slasher horrors, I've avoided them.
All right. Next question from somebody lurking in the background of this show. Will Danielle ever nut cry on a chill episode?
I do cry every episode. I don't know. We shall see. I don't know. Let's see if I can lose all of my emotions in the next 2 weeks. But
all right.
It's good to cry. Don't ever shame crying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't shame people who cry. Cry. Let it out, everyone. It's totally okay to cry.
Okay.
Not all cries are in sadness.
Yeah.
All right. Another question from Dean. What celebrity do you want to see play next that would be a legit contender? Because Kevin and Jericho looked great.
Ooh.
Oh.
Who would I want to see compete next? I'm trying to think of I don't know. Do you all have anyone inside of your brains at the moment?
I'm trying to think of who I think would be good. Because there's like all kinds of celebrities that be like, I just want to see them because I love them and I think they'd be funny. But like, will they be good at it? I don't know if she'd be good at it or not, but I just adore her. And I think her as a person is amazing. Right. So I'd like to see Anna Kendrick be on there.
Ooh.
I love her.
I love that.
Okay.
I love that.
So I don't know how she's a trivia, but
I feel like maybe now that Kevin Smith kind of has a little closer insight to it, maybe we could even get someone like Jason Mewes into it. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Okay.
Then get an actual Jay and Silent Bob match. Oh my god. That'd be tight.
I feel like the silent part would kind of play against, but it's okay. that might cause some complications, but okay.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. Megs, did you answer?
I'll say I didn't have anyone real specific. I was trying to think of who would kind of fit into just because it seems the kind of the two women that have shown a lot of academic excellence or excellent would be like Natalie Portman. And it would be really cool to see like someone like Gal Gadot. Yeah. It would be interesting to kind of get their perspective.
That would be cool. I like that. That's cool.
You know who I think would have really cool entrances also? Lena Waithe. I don't know if I'm saying her last name right either.
I'm not sure who that is.
She's not ringing a bell.
She was in Ready Player One. She played she played H in Ready Player.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. I love her.
I think she would be fun to watch. I wonder if she would do well in it too, like how well she would do in movie trivia.
Well, I'll say we're all missing the one that is probably the most famous celebrity inside the Schmoedown. Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep.
That's the answer.
That's the real answer.
That is the answer.
I had the biggest smile on my face whenever Jader came out for his very first match, and
yeah.
It was so good. It was perfect. I loved it.
All right. Next question. What is your favorite anime? Even though I know animation is not anime. I've honestly watched one anime in my entire life, and I'm only halfway through it, and it's Cowboy Bebop, but I like it. I'm enjoying it, so I'm going to say that.
I love Spirited Away. Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke are my favorite ones. I'm not the biggest like deep diver into anime. I only know like most surface level stuff. So Miyazaki, definitely, I've watched those. I love Kiki's Delivery Service. I
like Kiki. I've seen Kiki.
Yeah, I really like that one. And my name Totoro. Oh man, so Miyazaki. I don't know. I feel like that's a hard one. But those are really the only anime. Like I still haven't seen Cowboy Bebop. I think I tried to watch it a very long time ago and just didn't get through it. I also would love to see what's the one? Someone will know it if I say it's Dragonflies. Is it the Valley of Dragonflies? I'm not too sure if that's what it's called, but that one
I'm not sure.
Oh, actually, also Akira. I have Akira. I love Akira. It's that movie fucking blew my brain when I watched it. That's my answer, Akira. There, boom.
All right. And Megs, what's yours?
Anime is one that I haven't dived into either. Sorry, I'm kind of copying out on most of these. But trying to think if there's one that I have like any cursory knowledge of that I could mention. I'll say I've heard great things about all of them. It's just I haven't devoted the time to sit down and check anything out. Like probably the closest thing to like the non-traditional just animation stuff is when I watched Star Wars Rebels. That was a surprise that I really, really enjoyed that series.
Nice.
So kind of a tangential, but that was one that isn't necessarily considered a mainstream, but it's pretty good.
Perfect. And next question. Best Chadwick Boseman movie, R.I.P. to the King of Wakanda. Wakanda forever. I feel terrible. I have not seen a ton of movie season. I mostly know him from the MCU. I did see 21 Bridges like the weekend it came out because I was so excited to see him in it. I thought it was a fun thriller, but I'm going to go with Black Panther because it's just iconic and he did such a great job. But he brought that character to life so well. So, Danielle?
I watched I always get the damn title wrong. I want to say it's the Get Down, the James Brown movie that he did, and I absolutely adored it. I thought he did such a great job on there.
Yeah.
And same thing. I think I really didn't pay attention to him until after the MCU stuff, and then seeing what he was doing. I have loved Jackie Robinson as a baseball player my entire I was in elementary school doing a paper on Jackie Robinson. Like you pick like someone who inspires you or something. And I loved that player. So that movie also very much hit very close to me, but I really liked what he did in the James Brown movie. I think it's Get On Up. Thank you.
Okay.
And Megs?
So when he plays Jackie Robinson, I believe it's 42. I was one number off. I haven't looked at the page for a while. So yes, 42 was probably my first one that I saw of his that I just instantly loved. And then of course, Black Panther was one of the more iconic ones, but I think I really like what he does in 42 and especially him and Harrison Ford together and what dynamic they have just makes it extra special for me.
Very cool. That's one of my projects coming up is I want to go back and watch his backlog of stuff because I clearly missed a bunch and I feel bad and I need to see them. It's one of those things where it's like I saw it come out. I'm like, I'll get to it eventually. I'll watch.
Yeah, and 21 Bridges is one that I would love to catch because I've heard a lot of really good things about that one too.
It's pretty good. I liked it. I heard mixed things and reviews like that. I liked it though. It's one of those like thrillers where the tensions are high. You're like, oh, what are they gonna do? So
just
and he's very good in it.
Awesome.
All right, next question. Who could play against Doug Benson?
I can't wait to see Doug Benson play. I really hope he plays like how everyone felt about Kevin Smith and Chris Jericho yesterday. That's how I'm gonna feel about Doug Benson. I'm so excited. If he does play, I would flip. Who I think he could play or would play. I feel like it would be fun to make him go up against Kevin Smith.
Fair. That's a fair one.
What's your thoughts?
Let's think. Who? I could see him going up against someone like. I mean, I could even see him going up against someone like, say, like Marisol McKee or one of our kind of newer ones from the other leagues that might present an interesting challenge. Ones that aren't quite as tested in this, because this would be his first match. So you wouldn't want to put him necessarily against someone who's of high rank initially. I think any of those guys would be interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, Kevin Smith is a good poll.
I was gonna be mine is either Kevin Smith or Jericho. If Jericho wants to come back and have his next, go around and try getting a win and things like that, that'd be cool. But if they want to keep his Kevin Smith's momentum going, that would be awesome. So that's kind of who I thought is like either the winner or loser of that match might be who they put up him against. But I actually don't know much about Doug Benson. I don't know his strengths or weaknesses. I haven't seen him in things, so I don't know, like, strategy-wise, like, who I think he'd do well against or things like that. But that's just storyline-wise, I feel like that makes a little sense, I guess. Real quick, I'm going to do this next question, and then I'm going to step away from the computer for a second. So we have, what addition could make for a great Schmoedown exhibition match? Drunk, stoned, or Hot One style? Be right back.
Okay, so that's a great question, because all of those play to my lives. But I think doing a Hot One style is very fun. Whenever I was first trying to give the idea to Paul about Chill, I asked him to, like, Sean Evans is someone who I very much admire, so I love Hot Ones as a show just in general, but as a concept, I think it's hilarious, and I think it would be really fun to see players try to compete in movie trivia while eating hot wings in that way. Like, you'd get asked a question throughout each wing, like the way that they do it, but a trivia question as instead of like an interview question. And then the questions get harder throughout, and the questions get harder, the wings get hotter. That would be a lot of fun. I love that. I think that one would be fun.
I want to say I'm leaning towards that. Not a huge fan of the stoned. I mean, some people would love that. It's just not my cup of tea to see that. What was the third option?
Hot Wed style or drunk, Hot One style.
Oh, drunk. Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna let my dog out there.
So, I mean, I feel like in various degrees we've seen certain competitors
cut out.
I did before.
Different levels of inebriated. Okay. Are we back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was just, as a general, from what I've seen, the drunk aspect, have we not, in various degrees of inebriated, have we not already kind of seen that? just no judge whatsoever, just kind of an observation of what certain players do. So I think I will go towards the Hot Ones version. That would be interesting.
I feel like the stoner one, it wouldn't. I don't feel like it would be as fun. I think it would be funny. I think it would have funny moments. I don't think that it would be fun. And the drunk one, I feel like it would just get way too chaotic, and that makes my brain hurt. Also, like whenever there's like too much chaos going on in a Schmoedown match, I'm just like, oh man, like come on, do this. So I feel like that would be the only thing with drunk. I love that.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I missed a bunch of this stuff. I was gone for a second, but if I had to pick one, if people know me from live events like that, I'm a big hot sauce fan. I love hot sauce. It's like a thing where I get the hottest thing on the menu anywhere we go and things like that. So I would like a Hot Ones one. I think that would be fun. I want to see which people in the Schmoedown I could take in a hot sauce eating contest. I feel like a lot of them I could beat.
Well, we were supposed to do that hot nut challenge.
Yeah, I still have it. I'll have to bring it.
They're actual peanuts or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like peanuts that are increasingly hotter. It's a competition.
Yeah.
Until Yeah, we've been planning on doing it at a live event. Me and Lucas are the ones that have been set up to do it. But it just, we always get too busy, and then we look at the time. It's like, oh, we're all leaving now. We haven't done it yet.
I feel like
next time.
I feel like that's a common problem with those types of events. I sadly have not been to a live event yet, but having been to other types of events like that, that is the common. You have a lot of plans going in, and then you very quickly run out of time. So,
for sure. All right, another question. Do you think we will see Doug Benson play this year? Since Sam got him in a free agent signing.
Okay, yeah.
So we talked about who, but do we think he is going to play?
I hope so.
Since he's not in the singles tournament, I have high doubts unless somehow he ends up on a team for the team's tournament. Because I feel like we're already playing catch up from the time and that's been happening so far with COVID. So I don't think we're going to have a lot of extra singles matches aside from contender and title matches.
I agree.
It'd be great to see him, but I rather doubt.
All right, I'm trying to see if there's any more questions. I think we got to them all. I'm going through real quick. I think that's it. So thank you so much for joining us this evening, guys. We had a lot of fun this Saturday night. Look, it's an hour and a half. I'm kind of actually excited about that. I've had a rough day. Getting a little detail, I had an allergic reaction to fake hamburger meat, and so I am now on allergy medicine and an energy drink trying to counteract it. So thank you for bearing with me while I fight through tiredness and increased sugary energy. So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for being here with us. And we love you guys. We will see you tomorrow for a fantastic episode of Chill. And we'll also see you again next week on Call to Action Live. Bye, everybody.